l'ambassadeur Harold Agyeman, représentant permanent du Ghana, qui interviendra au nom du groupe africain.
Mr. Chairman, I have the honor to speak on behalf of the African Group during the general debate of this important committee. At the outset, let me warmly congratulate you and all the other members of the Bureau on your election. I would also like to assure you of the African Group's support and cooperation during this session. The Africa Group aligns itself with the statement delivered on behalf of the non-aligned movement and makes the following additional remarks. The fuller version of our statement is available on e-statement. Mr. Chairman, on 20th September 2017, the landmark treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons opened for signature. Given the slow progress and frustrations that had characterized nuclear disarmament for so many years, the TPNW marks a watershed in the drive to rid the world of nuclear weapons. As the international community awaits the realization of the goal of the total elimination of nuclear weapons, the Africa Group seeks profound and concrete measures in pursuit of the objective of nuclear disarmament in a verifiable and irreversible manner within a clear time frame. Mr. Chairman, the failure of the 9th Review Conference in 2015, despite concerted efforts of non-nuclear weapon states, particularly from Africa, requires positive engagement as state parties prepare for the 10th NPT Review Conference. In this respect, the group calls on all state parties to the NPT to work towards preserving the credibility and endurance of the treaty and achieving its universality and objectives through the adoption of a balanced and comprehensive outcome document. The Africa Group reaffirms the central role of nuclear weapon-free zones in the consolidation of the NPT, as well as in their contributions to addressing nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation across all regions of the world. These nuclear weapon-free zones enhance global and regional peace and security, strengthen the nuclear non-proliferation regime, and contribute towards the achievement of the objectives of nuclear disarmament. In this context, the Africa Group remains committed to the Treaty of Pelindaba. In the same vein, the Africa Group reiterates its deep concern that the 1995 resolution on the establishment of a zone free of nuclear weapons and all other weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East have not been implemented as agreed. Mr. Chairman, the African Group recognizes the importance of the peaceful uses of nuclear energy and underscores the central role of the International Atomic Energy Agency in ensuring the commitments of states to the implementation of safeguard agreements and in the provision and promotion of technical assistance and cooperation through maximizing the use of science and technology for socioeconomic development. The Africa Group emphasizes the humanitarian considerations in the context of all deliberations on nuclear weapons at this session, particularly its serious concern for the catastrophic humanitarian consequences of the use or detonation of nuclear weapons, either by accident or as a deliberate act. Mr. Chairman, it is in this context that the African Group strongly supports all efforts aimed at the total elimination and delegitimization of nuclear weapons as the utmost prerequisite for maintaining international peace and security. It is in this spirit that we recall the historical entry into force of the landmark treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons in January 2021. It is hoped that the nuclear weapon states and those under the so-called nuclear umbrella would seize this opportunity to sign and ratify the treaty, as well as pursue the goal of a nuclear-free world. In this context, the group stresses the need for the nuclear weapon states to seize their further modernization, upgrading, refurbishment, or extension of the lives of their nuclear weapons and related facilities. The Africa Group joins other member states to reaffirm the importance of the work entrusted to the Conference on Disarmament. The group expresses concern at the many years of impasse which has prevented the CD from fulfilling its mandate as the world's single multilateral disarmament negotiating forum and calls on the CD to resume substantive work without further delay, taking into account the security interests of all states. The Africa Group underscores the great importance of the United Nations Disarmament Commission. The group regrets that consensus was not reached on the agenda item on nuclear disarmament for several years and stresses the importance of the UN disarmament machinery as an integral aspect of multilateral disarmament. The group further underscores the significance not only of preserving the Commission, but also the realization of its deliberative objectives. Mr. Chairman, The African Group remains deeply concerned over the illicit trade, transfer, manufacture, possession, and circulation of small arms and light weapons, the excessive accumulation and uncontrolled spread in many regions of the world, particularly on the continent of Africa. The group remains committed to the UN Programme of Action to prevent, combat, and eradicate the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons in all its aspects, and welcomes the successful outcome of the 7th biennial meeting of state parties held in July 2021 in New York. The Africa Group urges parties to the Arms Trade Treaty to implement it in a balanced and objective manner and in a way that protects the interests of all states and not just the major international arms producing and exporting states. The group reaffirms the sovereign right of states to acquire, manufacture, export, import, and retain conventional arms, their parts and components for their self-defense and security needs in accordance with the UN Charter. Mr. Chairman, this year marks the 35th anniversary of the United Nations Center for Peace and Disarmament in Africa. And despite limited resources, the center has continued to offer technical assistance and capacity building to states across the Africa region. The group welcomes the undertaking by the Regional Center to deepen its partnership with the African Union Commission and African sub-regional organizations within the context of the United Nations African Union Framework for enhanced partnership in peace and security. The group stresses the importance of preventing an arms race in outer space through a legally binding instrument that would complement the international legal framework in a manner that allows for equal exploration of outer space based on the principles of non-appropriation and peaceful uses of outer space in conformity with the 5 United Nations Treaty governing space activities. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the Africa Group will submit 3 resolutions in the course of our meetings for which we seek the support of all delegations. These resolutions include the African Nuclear Weapon-Free Zone Treaty, prohibition of the dumping of the radioactive waste, and the Regional Center for Peace and Disarmament in Africa. As I indicated in the beginning of this statement, the full statement will be circulated through the e-statement portal. I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.